What is badly named, and what is a better name for it? Dentures should be substitutes. Abbreviation should be a much shorter word. Why is a group of squid called a shoal when it should be called a squad? Weather forecast is boring. Weather prophecy is awesome. Lisp should be renamed to anything without an S in it. Otto Preminger wrote his own biography and failed to title it autobiography. Once in a lifetime pun, and he just threw it away. Jet ski. Dumb name. Obviously it is a motorcycle. Now you see me too. Should have been now you don't. I'm not the first to say it, but pickup artists and garbage men should swap titles. Iceland and Greenland. Hemorrhoids should be asteroids OBV. A driveway should be a parkway, and a parkway should be a driveway. I keep seeing people say that contractions should be birthquakes. Twitter is Twitter. Just fix it back, Elon. Astronomers should be called scientists. I still don't get how inflammable means flammable. Faux pas stepdad. Toothbrush should really be called a teeth brush. Any bacon alternative that is not named FCON is an abomination. Butterfly should be flutterbies. Blowjob doesn't involve blowing, and for most people it's not their job. Not original, but I love the idea of bedials being booty calls and dad bods being father figures. Shuttlecock. Actually, that's an awesome name. Krav Maga. It should be called Jiu-Jitsu. W really is more of a double V than it is a double U. Mini corn dogs should be called corn puppies. A group of raccoons is called a gaze when the word heist is right there. For all intents and purposes, Starlink really should have been called Skynet if it wasn't already taken. This is a brand name, but there is a winter weather clothing company here in Canada called Moose Knuckles. An alternative would be literally anything else. Fencing the sport. Swashbuckling has been just right there for all these centuries. Narwhals should be renamed tunicorns. Scarecrows are no crows. They should be called crowscares. Beheading should be called deheading. Not sure how that one slipped. Rhode Island isn't an island. This whole thread is like a Seinfeld intro. Boob sweat humidities. Bullfrogs I'd call chuzwoozers. A red onion is quite clearly a purple onion. As a clarinetist, I hate that the fingering chart, little chart that tells you which fingers to use to play certain notes, is called a fingering chart. It's suggestive to those with dirty minds. I'm not sure what a better name would be, but someone's got to have one, right? My stepdad randomly called the fridge freezers the oracles of food and it stuck. Let me ask the oracles of food sounds way more badass than let me check what we have in the freezer. Headphones should be head speakers. Mitch Hedberg nailed it. It's not a cheese grater, it's a sponge ruiner. Air oven, air fryer. It's a small oven. It doesn't just fry. X should be named Twitter. A walkie-talkie is an incredibly silly name when you stop to think about it. Whoever coined the phrase dad bod really missed out on father figure. Traction should be called gription. My daughter said podcasts should be called Ear TV, which I wholeheartedly agree with. ESP as the name podcasts is basically anachronistic now with the demise of iPods. She also said bras should be called booba traps. She should probably go into advertising. Mailman should obviously have been mail. Buildings should be builtings. The small appliance brand SMEG. In terms of better names, I dunno, off the top of my head. Genital herpes, vaginal secretion, anal fissure. Pretty much anything is better than SMEG. Unicorn cause apparently unicorn makes too much sense. Hedgehog. Should be needle mouse. Bisexual should be called ambisextrous. Glove compartment, it should be extra fast food napkin compartment. The snooze button should be renamed the 5 more minutes of denial button. A stroke should be called a brain attack. A murder of crows. It should be a cacophony. American football should be something more like armor rugby, etc. Starfish and jellyfish, neither are fish. Garage, it's obviously a car hold. ADHD instead, let's rename it executive dysfunction and memory disorder EDMD. Daylight savings. Should be pointlessly mess up everyone's sleep cycle. Noodling for catfish, why are we not calling it cast fisting? Forks should be called stabby grabbies. Laundry detergent should be called laundry sauce. Shipments go by land, but cargo goes by sea. That shit needs to be reversed. Head and shoulders should have a soap called knees and toes. Miscarriages. Think about that, it's essentially accusing the woman for miscarrying the pregnancy. It places the blame on women for something that's almost always outside of their control, and traumatic to boot. A much better and more descriptive term would be pregnancy loss, which is already used widely in many settings. Pointed feet. At least in Dutch, they're called spitsvoeten, with spitsen being the points ballerinas wear. My daughter looked at my feet and said, "You have Barbie feet," that's what I call them now. It also reflects a lot better what my ability to walk is. Trampoline should be called jumperlin. Near misses in aviation. Did you nearly miss? Then it's a crash. Really should be a near hit or something. Windows subsystem for Linux should be called Linux subsystem for Windows. Bee hotels, lil wooden structure that solitary bees can nest in from time to time. That's great, support local wildlife, etc. But seriously, who was the marketing genius that decided not to call them all BBS? Ejaculate, cum, semen. Better name dickquid. Red cabbage should be called purple cabbage. ADHD. Most adults with it don't have the hyperactive component. It's also not a deficit of attention, it's that we give too much attention to every stimulus around us. Cornhole needs to be changed back to bin bag toss. Veterinarian. Should be a dog tour. Manslaughter sounds way worse than murder. Unintentional homicide would be better. Birth control should be called pregnancy preventer. Hot water heater. It's really a cold water heater. I am giving a serious response. 1. Borderline personality disorder is not being on the line between two different things. It is having difficulty regulating emotions. 2. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is not a lack of attention or an overabundance of activity. It is the brain moving too quickly and the body can't keep up. It is needing to structure things differently to be functional. It is being able to see things that others can't. 3. Sexual desire interest arousal disorder is not a disorder at all. It is a different sexual orientation, asexuality. Why is it called chilly when it's warm? The Midwest, which is definitely in the East. The Great Molasses Flood Boston Molasses Disaster should have been called the Boston Molassacre. Killer whales should have been named sea pandas. Don't know if this counts, but hurricanes. They're always named shit like Hurricane Barbara, they need something more suitable like Hurricane Holy Shit or Hurricane Totally Fucked. I feel like I'd remember them to be better too.